Hello, everyone, and welcome back to a special edition of the Community Spotlight. Every once in a while, instead of doing a vote, we'll showcase a game that deserves a spotlight. And today, we've got a Disability Month Awareness Month tie-in with Aggelos, run by Melos. As a reminder, throughout the month of October, we'll be featuring speedruns by disabled speedrunners to promote more visibility and awareness. And before we go through and get started with Aggelos, just would like to remind everybody that volunteer schedule for Awesome Games Done Quick 2020 will be coming out October 31st. And this Wednesday, we're going to have another spotlight of Cuso Grande games at 7 p.m. Eastern. So tune in for a good selection of actual speedruns from the Cuso Grande game umbrella. But Melos, Tina, how are you two doing today?
Great. Thank you so much for the invitation.
I'm doing well. It's a lovely 3 a.m. run. Looking forward to this.
So this is a game that isn't super well known. What can we expect to see here from Aggelos today?
So Aggelos is very much a love letter to a lot of the old retro platform adventure games, such as Zelda 2 and the Wonder Boy franchise. There are a lot of gameplay elements, sound elements, and such that were taken very much from the creators' interest in those games.
So kind of side-scrolling, platforming, killing stuff, puzzly kind of situation.
Yep, a lot of side-scrolling, a lot of sword swinging, a little bit of magic here and there. Not too much in the way of puzzles, but a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, if you liked old school adventure games, things that would feel like the precursors to what we call Metroidvanias now, this game is going to be right up your alley.
So this game does not seem to have a ton of exposure. How did you find out about this?
So this game actually came up, I forget which one of us mentioned it first, but we just saw it on Steam and we're like, hey, we should do a blind race of this. And we did, and we all loved it, and then we ended up running it for a few months, and it was great.
That's one way to do it. Is there anything else you'd like to cover before we get started?
No, it's a fairly unknown game, but a lot of the gameplay and stuff will feel fairly similar to what people have seen before if they've played any of those games. Aside from that, I just wanted to thank you for hosting the Disability Month event. It's great to bring awareness to a lot of things that people don't normally talk about or get much visibility.
Yeah, and we featured a good amount of runs for those so far, and it's a good moment to just remind people those VODs will be on YouTube if you want to check any of the other ones out. But I'm ready to get going when you are, so give us a countdown.
All right, let me get in here. All right, so let's go in 3, 2, 1, go. So this is Aggelos. It's starting out standard game, a little bit of story, just about nothing. Basically, hey, here you are. Go this direction. Have fun. Don't exactly give you a lot to go off of there.
Yeah, it's an ordinary day.
But we're just gonna make our way over here and, kill a bird, and run into a random princess in the woods, everyday thing.
Are birds jerks in this game?
Birds are absolute jerks in this game. This guy is a jerk too because he's chasing down the princess, and she doesn't know where to go, even though we're right next to the castle. She's gonna go back to my house for now and chill. So these things are the save points, and now we're gonna run into our first glitch. So if you see all the enemies on this screen, you shouldn't be seeing these. We have quite a few interesting ways to break this game, most of them involving pausing.
Yeah, so you're going to see a bunch of stuff. In fact, coming up, you're going to see another pause right at the edge of a screen transition. And
Oh, the mean
basically
fish.
pausing right at a screen transition does a lot of weird things with the way that the game loads and unloads sprites and other types of interactable objects. And we're going to see a bunch of different ways that can play out. You saw one of those two pauses right at the edge of the screen. We had a jump come out of that. That's because, to the best of our reasoning, you go and you hit a you hit the screen transition from below, which causes you to go immediately back up. Here you're going to see our first big sequence break. We have unloaded about 6 minutes worth of gameplay by unloading some blocks that we were supposed to pick up an ability to be able to break. Get used to seeing just some weird behavior whenever we pause at the edge of the screen.
So if we enter a room and it seems strangely empty, like more than it should be, that's probably the result of one of those pauses.
Yes, absolutely. Now,
Like
of
this-
course, since we're unloading enemies, we're not getting the XP that the game expects us to have. Melos is going to be playing pretty much the entire game way under level. For the most part, he's going to be early on 2 or 3 levels. By the end, I think probably about 5 to 6 levels lower than you're supposed to be. That didn't look good, that flashy thing in the wall, but, we'll see what that is later.
All right, and now we've reached the castle, and they sent somebody to go get the princess, and, well, the evil sorcerer Valion was the hero, but now he's the villain. He stole all the elements, and he's going to let darkness take over. And, oh, hey, look, nobody can touch the elements, but this guy can. So, hey, this guy, are you going to go take care of this for us? Sure, no problem. All right, here's the key to the kingdom. Have a nice day.
Is there a reason we can touch the elements?
Cuz.
We
Faded
have plot
hero?
armor.
If we couldn't touch the elements, there wouldn't be much of a game. It would be a very short speedrun. It would be 3 minutes and 35 seconds, and we'd be done.
Bad ending %?
Pretty much. So I'm going to go back here to pick up this heart, the herb, and a little bit of gold, because I'm going to need that.
Yeah, another thing that we end up getting way less than we're supposed to in the run is gold. A lot of what Melos is going to be doing throughout the run is routing around, getting the exact right amount of gold that he's going to need for the next part.
There's 1 or 2 places where we have to stop and farm for just a moment, but for the most part, we've routed it to remove as much of that as possible. We also removed getting as much of the equipment as possible, but some of it, like this first upgrade here, it's just too incredibly difficult to go without, and the lack of damage from not having the weapon actually ends up making it slower.
Yeah, anytime that the equipment that we can go out of our way to get is going to speed up the run, we will. And if it won't, then, well, Melos is going to play on hard mode, basically. Alright, we're coming up on our first dungeon. Not a lot to say right here, just gonna get through to the dungeon itself. We are going to be coming up on a pickup called the Earth Ring, which will be pretty important throughout the run. It's a good source of damage. It throws a projectile kind of in the shape of a kind of like the axe from Castlevania.
Yeah, it's a medium-range arcing projectile. I missed the pause there. That's okay. The screen's not hard. But it has a few other interesting properties, but you'll see that once I pick it up in about 1 minute and a half. So we've reached our first temple, and the first thing you'll notice is it sounds very familiar to a lot of you. The music in this game takes heavy inspiration from Zelda 2.
Yeah, during the check, I was like, wait a minute, isn't that actually just the song? And then I was like, oh no, it's different, okay.
incredibly similar. And yeah, this room is actually kind of mean the first time you go through it, because these destroyable blocks, it is very easy to make this room not completable, and you have to walk back out to reset them. We won't talk about the number of times I did that my first pass. But then we have this little orby elevator thing, takes us upstairs, and I'm gonna just take a hit and run through this guy, and we have the Earth Ring. So the Earth Ring, now you'll notice at the top of my screen I have 3 little bubbles of magic, and I can throw projectiles that can turn things into platforms. So I can do that on any of the wisps, or any enemy that I kill with it.
So one thing that isn't immediately obvious, the way that you refill your magic is by punching enemies in the...
Yes, we gain magic by punching things in the face.
With your sword.
Yep. Well, I mean, what else would you punch things in the face with?
Your foot?
Yeah, that actually hurts you in this game.
Oh, okay. You can't jump on enemies?
Nope. Any contact that is not sword-based is a no-no.
Good to know.
And we're going to drop this big old weight that was in the way and head on upstairs. Earth Temple is pretty short and sweet. Oh, I hate missing that one. You just kind of got to lob it up there while you're jumping and hope you hit it. And this is our first boss, named Tapio. He is just big old vine-covered skull, hanging out. And now he's gonna come try to bounce on me and shoot things at me. Whew. Okay, and there's Tapio, and I didn't even use the herb. Nice.
So, it seems like there's increments of health beyond just half hearts. Like, how many different levels of health increments are there?
I'm honestly not sure. It subdivides quite a bit.
Yeah, each pixel in that heart is part of your health meter. And I've seen tiny little bits of damage. Sometimes some hits won't even take off an entire pixel.
Alright, well, we've got the first element now, and we're just heading back out of this cave now. So, I don't have any way to quickly get around yet, but we'll take care of that in a little bit. For now,
getting around is just about really good movement, keeping it clean, which so far this run has been pretty clean.
So how do you balance, like, despawning enemies on a room versus, like, wanting the XP or gold?
Mostly a risk assessment, level of danger. If I can get some easy kills in the screen, or if I don't have to have the health, I don't bother despawning it. But if it's a particularly dangerous room, or somewhere where I'd have to fight a lot of things to get through, then forget it. I'm just going to despawn it.
Yeah, the earliest routing that I did for this game was basically, if it slows me down, I despawn it. And then from that baseline, we started working on figuring out for the golden experience routing where it made sense for us to not despawn the enemy.
That, and we ran into a few places where it's like, okay, if we despawn this, we break everything, so we can't do that. There's a few rooms that just do not do well with being despawned. So, oh, I missed that one, so it's okay. Can turn them into platforms and skip ahead, but we gotta get the height.
We're coming up on a pretty big skip here. So already, we're skipping a little bit of content, but coming up we're going to have another pretty sizable skip.
So that jump right there actually skips a decent size underwater and cave section.
Yeah, there's a lot of content that we're not going to see thanks to that.
And then there's pterodactyl guy up there. He's just kind of hanging out. He's cool. We don't care about him.
He's
Yeah,
he's smiling. He's happy.
Pterodactyl's
having a good day.
enjoying watching your adventure. Just like all these wonderful people in chat.
All right. Well, now we're going to come talk to this old guy, and he really wants a book, but he can't afford it. But he's got a coupon. But he can't get to the coupon because a bunch of rats stole it in the basement. So we got to get into the basement. But he lost the key to the basement. So, yeah.
Such an RPG storyline.
So I'm going to run upstairs and talk to his buddy. He's like,
Yeah,
oh,
also
yeah,
the
I've got
stairs
it.
are broken.
And yeah, the stairs fall apart. And then I get into the basement, and there's rodents of unusual size everywhere. But there's his coupon.
You know, in his defense, if rats that were the size of me tried to steal my coupon, I would have given them the coupon.
Yeah,
That coupon's dead to me at that point.
it's
Yeah,
a pretty good
it's gone.
coupon, though. This book would be 10,000 gold pieces, but with the coupon, she sold it to me for just 200.
Yeah, that's a hefty coupon.
And for that, he gives me a book, which is basically the Rosetta Stone. It translates any and all languages for me. And then he gives me the 200 gold back that I spent.
That's a really good deal.
Yeah, it's really important that you not walk out the door and forget your gold like I have done many, many times, because you really need that gold right now. So I have 720 gold. I need 700 gold in order to buy the weapon that I get here. So and there isn't a good place to farm 200 gold here. That would waste probably a good few minutes of killing stuff.
Yeah, most of the drops here are pretty poor.
So I stop here, and I'm going to take a save there just for safety. And we're going to pick up the water sword.
I was not expecting an underwater city.
Yeah, we can just breathe underwater, you know, no big deal.
Well, I mean, obviously.
Yeah. I don't think they ever bother to explain that one. It's just how things are.
See, I wouldn't
So-
question it if you had already picked up the aqua element thing.
Yeah.
Well,
but
no,
haven't.
I mean,
I have to get
where
there.
would you get the Aqua Element thing except in the water dungeon?
So I needed the book to translate the words on that door to learn the magical phrase to open it. And now we're in the underwater area. So
And
the
one
reason
thing that... Oh, go for it.
the reason we picked up the water sword there is that it gets a massive bonus to its attack underwater. So it is really, really nice to have down here. And I'm
So
going to
we're coming
skip
up on a D boost here.
if this thing wants to behave. There we go. Normally I would have to climb up the left side, up around another screen, and then into this one to get up here, but I could just take that hit and get bounced up. Whoa.
So here we're really hoping to see a level up before we take any more damage.
It's close. This guy is rather mean. But okay. Okay, we're through the most dangerous part. But now we're into the water temple. And we all know we love water temples. This one is just as nice as all the other ones you know and hate. It's multiple levels of water terrible.
Does it follow the traditional rules of the water temple and that on your first visit you must die in the water temple?
Pretty much. Oh, I hate doing this, but... Okay. That dude absolutely would have made me use that herb, and I did not want to yet.
Yep. So herbs are like potions in many other games. They give you a refill for your health, you know, if you run out of health, but So far, Melos has avoided doing that.
So do you have to press it manually, or does it trigger when you hit 0?
It's a automatic thing. The herb is a auto potion.
Okay.
There is a manual potion as well, but I do not have one of those at the moment. I'll be picking one up later. So I'm just going to wait here because I can fight that guy, but 9 out of 10 times he just knocks me off and makes me have to run 20 seconds around. So it's just easier to wait. If I had down stab, that wouldn't be hard, but I don't. We skipped it.
Yeah,
But
a lot of the gameplay here is expecting you to have down stab to make some of the jump.
Yeah, we just make do without it. And I do want to take a bit of damage here. That heart kind of negated it, but I am actually going to be taking a few intentional deaths coming up, so I do want to get my health lower and prepare for that. Now we have the water ring, which gives us our second magic, bubble. And it does exactly what you would think and lets you float around.
It still gives me Super Mario Land vibes.
Yeah, this is very much Space Zone.
So now I can swim in the water a bit, and I'm going to use that to get to a few places that were not accessible before. And now that I've got that key, I'm going to go right back to where I just was, to that door that everybody probably saw when I fell down the pit there. And we're going to use this to hit another switch that can raise the water level once more. Drooling fish.
It's a wonderfully animated fish. It gets the point across, and that's what's important.
Alright, so good. I made it out of there with enough magic. The terrible part is when you go down there and you run out of magic and you have to fall all the way down the pit again just to get enough magic to float out.
Oh no.
That almost knocked me off, but I need that gold. It's okay. I do need to take a bit more damage. Oh well, that's fine. I'll just take a few seconds to die here. Still faster. So I pick up the other key, and then I'm going to let this guy kill me. Get back here. Now he doesn't want to hit me. He's running away. So we're going to take the death and use that to get back to the start of the dungeon, because otherwise we're on the complete opposite end of where we want to go. But from here, we start off exactly where we want to be, which is right here on this first screen. So that's where the second key is. So now that we have both keys, we can go towards the boss. So this doesn't have boss keys like Zelda games do, but sometimes the boss door isn't just open. So I need to go through this gauntlet here and take a few hits along the way. Get to this room. So I needed both keys to get in, and then I use the secondary magic of the bubble, which makes it explode, to hit all of those at once, and that opens the boss door, which conveniently is right at the entrance. So you can probably guess what I'm doing now.
Death Warp number 2?
Taking a free ride back to the entrance. And a heal.
Are there lives, or is it just infinite continues?
Infinite continues. You're just supposed to feel a little bit bad every time that counter for how many times you've died.
And now we fight the totally not Squid Baron. I can't even remember his name, I just call him Squid Baron.
He looks like Squid Baron.
So I'm actually in a really bad way here right now. I've taken more damage than I would like already, and he hits really hard, and I don't have an herb or a potion. So I'm going to have to play it a little cautious here and back off. Because those hit really hard. Oh, okay. That's fine. One death on him isn't too bad.
Especially since the entrance is right near the entrance of the dungeon. You can get right back in there quickly, can't you?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's one of the
this one ends up
least-
being pretty forgiving in terms of the time that you lose. This boss is probably the second hardest boss in the entire game, just because we're underleveled. He's real aggressive, and we don't have all the tools that we're supposed to have to be able to fight him effectively.
Yeah, he's real nasty, but thankfully he's the least punishing as far as time lost. So I can just sit here. Okay, good. Now he's on the ground. That's what I want to see, because I can just hammer away at him. And there we go. One quick death. That's not too bad. The next boss is just disgustingly harder than that, though. The next boss is horrible.
So is there like a milestone in gold that you're aiming for here?
What do you mean?
6K, I believe, is the next
cool.
amount that we want to have.
Yes, 6K. There is a one large chest on the way that'll give me a decent chunk of that, but a lot of that is coming from that boss and farming between here and the next shop. Oh, come on. There's little spinies everywhere. It's like a minefield in there. And now we're out, so we're going to make our way over here and pick up a really useful tool on the other side of the town. We couldn't get to it before, but now that we have the bubble, we can swim up to where it's at. So we're just going to skip all this. And let's see if I can, good. Slide right through. I don't want to bother killing anything because that's slow. And then we're going to go right up here and grab the feather. So the feather is our fast travel. Now we have the ability to teleport from save point to save point, and that's going to save us a lot of time. So I'm going to go all the way back to the beginning of the game and... Ah, missed it. It's okay. They all die in 2 hits anyway. So we're going to go back and we skipped the first ability scroll because it's slow, but this one we can't skip. We need it to make the jump to get to the next area. So we're just going to go pick it up real quick. Float on up here into this...
What's an ability scroll?
So these are the MacGuffins that we haven't picked up any of yet. So every time that we pick up a ability scroll, we get a new ability. We were supposed to have the down stab from Zelda 2 before, but we skipped it. But the good news is that we now can do that since the game decides that, hey, you picked up 1. And in theory, the game thinks, hey, you're supposed to have had that scroll to be able to get this far in the game anyway. So it just gives us both.
Yep, so got a 2-for-1 deal.
It's very kind of the game.
I am going to stop here and pick up a herb for safety for this next area because everything hits really hard and a death would be incredibly costly up here.
Yeah, we're already very undergeared for where we're about to be.
Yeah, the water armor would help a ton, but that's expensive and slow, so...
Yeah, given how you blasted through the early game, I don't see how you'd be able to afford that without cutting into the 6,000 you're trying to save for.
Oh, there's no way. It's pretty expensive, too. I don't remember the exact cost on the water armor, but it's, I think, near 1,000.
Yeah, 900, I think? Something like that.
Yeah.
It's been a very long time since I've purchased it.
Just take a note of those bananas I just picked up. They're tasty, but we're gonna hang on to those for later. And here's the jerk birds again. I'm gonna skip by where I'm going just to pick up this teleport point for later. We definitely need that. And there's the jump. We can't make that without having the up slash. Now here, I'm going to take a short farm break here. So there's the big chest. And now I am a bit short. I don't care if I use the herb, I just don't want to die. So, I don't have to farm it all on this screen, but...
I was going to say, those were some clutch dodges there.
It's sketchy. That screen is dangerous. So, I'm going to skip out on that now because I'm low health and take the heal here and the save and just finish farming on this side.
I'm assuming just missing that armor is why the enemies are all doing huge chunks of damage to you.
That as well as levels. I'm very, very under point, so...
Yeah, if we were playing casually, I think right now you'd be around level 9, level 10. So, pretty early on, you get a stiff differential, and it makes the game real tough.
I got exactly the amount I needed there from one pass, so that's pretty good.
Was there anything else you need to save for at this point, or are you just mostly done with gold now?
No, there's a few things, but they're a good bit later, and they're really expensive. So don't forget to put on the armor, because you will die almost instantly when you go into the hot area if you don't. The volcano is very hot.
So this wasn't a safety armor, it was a required armor.
Yeah, absolutely required.
Alright, and now we're in the Zelda 1 mate. So down, right, left, down, right is going to take us to the Dragon Sword. Normally, you would have to run around in circles picking up hints for which directions to go to get to each one of these. And then we're going to go right, left, right, right, down to get to the next area. Very similar to the Lost Woods from Zelda 1.
I see that you appear to have skipped quite a few things on your equipment screen.
Yes, oh, I hate these things. Hang on. Okay. So we've skipped a few pieces of armor and whatnot. I'm going to go back to the village and pick up a herb. And I still have the potion from earlier. So we are going to try what is basically a suicide strat in here to skip half of this next dungeon. And I'll let Tina talk about that a little bit, because this is really difficult.
Yeah, so what you're going to see happen, and I'll point it out when we get real close to it. Earlier I mentioned that hitting a pause right on the edge of a screen interrupts the loading and unloading routine in this game. So one of the effects of that is that it also interrupts the unloading portion that is supposed to kick all the enemies off of the screen and make them go away because you're going to a new area. We're going to have a bat, which you're seeing a few of them now. We're going to have a bat follow us right to a point where we're going to be able to use earth magic to make a platform. And we're going to use that to skip basically 2/3 of this dungeon. It's going to be real good. It's going to be real fun. And Melis is going to get it first try.
It's... Getting the trick is hard enough. It's what comes after it that's scary.
Yeah, so I'll talk about the boss kind of in vague detail, I guess, right now. We're probably going to be mostly quiet while Melis does the boss, because it's pretty stressful. So we're supposed to have a couple of items that let us do long-range attacks. There's a lot going on just in the boss fight itself. Melis is going to ignore all of that, take a ton of damage, and then start wailing on the boss, basically hovering over it. It's a damage race. It stinks. It's hard, but Melis is super good at this game and is therefore going to just not have a problem with it at all.
Okay, so what happened right there was the bat actually spawns once, and then you have to fully spawn the room in order to make him respawn. So I had to walk out and respawn the room. So as you can see, the bat didn't follow me, so that means that I didn't do the glitch right. So I need to spawn the room, walk out, and then despawn the room, because I'm not walking through that field of death again. And it's a little finicky to get it just right, but once you get it, now the bat should come back. Right at that pillar.
Yeah, there's a lot of nuance to using this glitch well, and there's a range of frames that you can pause on that have different effects, and it's tough. This is a really, really hard...
Yeah, a little late, but it's okay. This is one of those ones that even if it takes you several tries, you're still saving a ton of time.
Yeah, there's a ton of puzzles that you have to do. There's a really long dungeon just by itself.
There it is.
Even if this were to take 5 minutes, it would easily still save close to another 5.
And now we're at the boss. Oh, I can't... No, this is bad. Okay, that's actually fine. Okay. That's not ideal, but it's fine. The dragon is into phase 2. So phase 1, there's only one platform, and he keeps me on it. So he's supposed to jump up and down on the other side, just shooting fireballs and little dragons at me. And I'm supposed to use the fire ring to shoot back at him. So I'm going to use that potion now so I don't die. And we're going to take this a little slower because... There we go. So now we're into phase 3. And the platforms are going to start doing their own thing while he shoots fire at me. And I need to avoid most of this, because it really hurts. But I'm supposed to have the fire ring to shoot at him. But, okay. Whew. As long as he dies without a death, then we save a ton of time. A death there is really
Yeah,
costly.
that is just huge. That is well done.
It looked impressive.
Lost about a minute and a half on the trick there, but I still saved probably 5 to 10 minutes on the whole dungeon by doing that. And that fire ring that we never got, well, we have it now, so I could shoot fire. I guess the element, it just gave it to me.
Yeah, once again, just a case of there's a reasonable assumption that you're going to have the fire ring if you beat that boss, so may as well just hand it to you, set the game to a known state so that we don't have some weird state where who knows what's going on and the game is suddenly uncompletable.
So I'm about to do another glitch that I'm already setting up right now, but you'll see in just a moment.
Yeah, so every time that you walk through a screen, for most screens, it resets a spawn. Melos is setting up so that coming up, he wants to take a death warp and not have his spawn set too close to where he took the death. He wants to get the maximum amount of distance traveled with this death. So what you're going to see happen here is if you were playing this casually, you would expect, oh, he's gonna, respawn right at the start of the cave. But he's jumping over spawn reset triggers. And what that's going to do for us is get us much further back, which is, in this case, further ahead.
All the way back to town.
Did you find a sword by killing that enemy?
Yes, the slime made a sword. It's fine. It's no big deal.
It's the worst sword in the game.
Yeah, it's terrible.
But I'm assuming we're going to do something to make it not so terrible anymore?
Eventually.
Well, that would be a spoiler.
And say hello to the awesome, way too large polar bear.
I'm a fan of the color.
So I'm hoping I can... This screen is hard to despawn. This is the hardest of the respawn glitches. So right here, I'm trying to pull off 2 glitches at once, and I think I got it. So I had to hover through that transition and get the pause despawn glitch at the same time.
Yeah, once again, this is all about making sure that the respawn from a death warp is set as far back as possible.
So those sections where he was very particularly staying in the air for long periods of time, that's going over one of those respawn points?
Yes.
Correct.
This screen's not that dangerous, but this next one I have to despawn. No, it's too dangerous. Come on. So it's a little tricky to get that timing because it's way later than you would think it would be. There we go.
And Tina, you said that depending on when you pause, you're triggering different effects?
Yeah, you're despawning some stuff, but not other stuff, or you're preventing some things from loading in properly, but not others.
There's a whole lot of things it can possibly
play
do.
around with. Yeah.
So I'm just gonna hope that that last trick worked, and I should end up all the way back at that ice block I destroyed near town. Yes, it worked. Normally I would have to run from there all the way back to town.
And that's because there's no good save point to teleport from?
Nope, this is the closest
Correct.
one. So we're going to head back to the castle now, and we're going to go exploring in the dungeon where it's dark and we have fire. Makes sense.
Yep.
Oh, wrong way. And see, we got a soldier guy there guarding that little speck, so we
I
can all
like
feel
him.
safe.
He's
a
doing
great
a
guy.
really good job.
What was that ability?
So that's what the fire ring gives you. You can set up warp points, and you're supposed to have to use those to get through the fire dungeon. Obviously, Melos didn't.
They are vital for... Oh, I missed it. Okay, that's fine. I'll just go back up the other side and do it on the second pass. So there's actually... What you're supposed to do is climb up here and light these 2 torches, and that shows you that there's a gate there that you can shoot this through. Like that. And then I just teleport in, and I found the string. And there's another hidden chest right down here in the dark that has a whole lot of money in it.
Found the string?
Yep.
Yeah, so earlier we picked up an instrument. Now we picked up the string for the instrument. Turns out we're really good at music. The game neglected to tell us that earlier, but turns out we really like music. So we're going to go fix that.
Yep, we're going to go back to the wall here, and I'm going to stop and buy this for my own health. And we're just going to go talk to this lonely little music shop here. And he's going to fix it for us. And now we have a lyre. And it's cutscene time. I can't mash through this one to make it any faster, but there, the first time you see him the whole game, that is Valiant, big bad guy.
He looks like a bad guy.
He looks like a low poly version of Shredder.
He really does.
Except that he is not a warrior, he's a wizard. Even though he's wearing, you know, all that platey looking armor. But yeah, he opened the gates, and all the darkness is pouring through, and basically a whole lot of bad.
Yeah, it doesn't seem good.
That poor guard.
It's okay. He's got a big stick. He's got a huge spear. He's good. See?
He's trying his best.
He's doing his best. He's so brave. Look at him.
Yeah, he tried to kill it.
Rip soldier dude.
Hang on, we need some Fs in chat for soldier dude.
And now there are these eyeball things everywhere, and they hit generally not fun. So Now I'm going to teleport back here to Palulu Town, and we're going to go use that lyre that we just made. But first, I'm going to pick this up. So, this random pillar here, just going to play some music and wake up the magical sleeping tower. Which fans of some of the Monster World games might recognize. And now we're in DuckTales, so we've changed from one game to another.
Are we going to be pogoing on a lot of enemies now?
I may be, but it's the Mirror Maze.
Yeah.
Everybody loves the Mirror Maze.
Yep. So what we're doing here is we are having to stomp on all of these buttons in order to open each door in.
I can't imagine how long this would take in casual play.
It's not too bad.
It takes a little
most
while.
of the mirrors, most of the mirrors are pretty good about wherever the next mirror is where you opened up the last door.
Right.
So,
and now we're at our boss, Yakra. Oh wait, sorry, not Yakra, Gizia. Totally not Yakra.
I had forgotten the actual name because I just call it Yakura.
I can see the Yakra, especially with the way it's moving jerkily back and forth there.
It is absolutely Yakra, but totally not Yakra for copyright reasons. Oh, I hate when he does that. Okay, but he's dead. If you get him too low on health, he just sits there and spams the lightning attacks, and it's really hard to get hits in on him.
That was some good dodging, though.
I'm glad, because once you get hit by one, you get knocked back, and it's just really hard to keep up. So now that I hit the 5, it got rid of that one, and from there I can just go this way and climb my way up and out. So we beat the Guardian, now the tower is open, we can go out into the next area. And we're in the sky, which has awesome music.
Yeah, it does.
We have 3 elements, and air is presumably the last one.
Mm-hmm.
So the good news is we are about to be under-leveled, but finally not under-geared.
I do not have the money for that, so I'm just going to buy the armor right now, and I'll go with the backup strat for that, which is despawning all of this and picking up a chest full of money in a minute. This screen is just terrible. There is stuff everywhere, and if you'll notice, I can keep pushing that while I fall through the platform, and, you know, just magic push.
That's,
It saves
yeah.
about 0 time, but it's just great. I love showing that off.
Yeah, so the lore
Sometimes
here is that nobody can move those pillars, but for some reason we can, so we can put them where they go.
Just like nobody can touch the elements, but we can.
Yeah, it's
Real
weird, isn't
mysterious.
it? Also, the legend says that when the 3 pillars are put where they go, the celestial gates will open. You know, nobody actually believes the legend because the pillars can't be moved.
Okay. So I do want to lose my herb here, so I'm gonna jump off and take a hit from the cloud. But there we go. Now we've opened this blockade. And I'm going to take a few hits here while I pick this up. And, alright. That cloud looks suspiciously like Kirby. I think it's Kirby messing with us.
Might be Krakow in disguise.
Maybe.
It
Very
might be
pink.
Kirby having finally eaten Krakow.
Ooh, I like that theory.
Oops, I need to go back. Almost forgot the sword. The sword is very important. This is the strongest sword that we can get right now, so without that, everything is very slow. And we don't
Especially
like slow.
since you're level 9.
Yes, I
Yeah.
should be more like 12, 13 right now.
Is there a maximum level in this game?
Yes, the maximum level is 20, and it actually takes a good bit of grinding to get all the way to 20. Casually, you'll probably reach the end boss at around 16 to 18. But we've opened up the garden, and we have found a monkey who is stranded in the sky. And he was just taking a nap, and he got dragged up here. So now we're going to give him a ride home, and he is our adventure buddy for the next couple minutes.
That is adorable.
Adventure
now-
Buddy is amazing.
Now we literally have a monkey on our back.
I'm very
What?
on board with this storyline.
The problem with him is he is not a teleporting monkey, so he has not gone and lived with Talarasha yet.
I assume that means if you use your feather, he doesn't come with you.
No, he yells at you and says, "What the heck? I can't teleport. Why would you do that? Now take me home." He gets very cross with you if you try to teleport.
That's good attention to detail. I like it.
But, I mean, he could just join the Earthbound monkeys in the desert and learn teleport, and then be a teleport monkey like they are.
I feel like that's one of those things that's easier said than done.
Are you suggesting that these are not the same universe?
I'm just saying it might be very difficult for him to get all the way to the Earthbound Desert.
I mean, he should have the teleport monkeys come take him to be a teleport monkey.
Oh, I
All
got
you have to
logic.
say is please.
I don't have an argument for that one. You got me.
But yeah, we promised to take him home in exchange for a little bit of help. So we actually have a problem. In the fire town here, the guy who was guarding those purple gates we walked past earlier to the sky, he decided he hates the weather up there, so he moved down here to Volcano Land instead. And somehow took the magical keyhole with him.
What?
Like you do.
Yes, the keyhole to open the gates in the sky was taken with him to the volcano. So we're going to pick up this extra magic container here, which is real important. And now we're going to start the Shantae area of this, where we turn into a monkey. And so we've gone in to distract the guy with the key, and now we are a monkey.
Oh my god. You said that, and I just had this image in my head of what if you couldn't get hit the entire time you were carrying the monkey like in Shantae. And I was like, oh no.
And we're just going to yoink that key while he's being distracted, and then go say hi to the bartender from Wonder Boy 3. And make our way through this little climbing area. Go up here, shimmy out, and jump over to the house that just has a magical keyhole in it for, reasons. I'm not sure how he brought that down here, but he did, and it works. So we'll just go with it.
Don't worry about it.
But now we need to return the key before he notices and gets mad, because he looks real tough. So we're going to put that back and leave.
I like how we're distracting him by just standing there and holding up our sword like, hey, look at this cool sword.
It's a pretty
It's
cool
a good
sword.
sword. It's a very expensive sword.
And it's a lightning sword.
It's a great distraction tactic.
Alright, and so Monkey still can't teleport, so we have to go the long way back to his house in the forest. So those eyeballs hit really hard. They're just shadow enemies they add to like every screen now, and they hurt so much more than everything else. So all the areas that were completely trivial are now dangerous again.
It is nice when games find a way to make screens still relevant in the late game.
But we've taken him home, and now we're going to talk to this other monkey and give it the bananas, and it's going to give us this necklace it found, and some experience while it steals our money. Every time you walk past the monkey, it steals a gold. They just can't help
That's rude.
themselves. I do believe it's explained that they just can't help themselves. They just have
It's
to.
so shiny and pretty.
Okay, well then, I guess that's okay.
Alright, so while I'm here, I'm going to pick up a herb, because the area I'm about to go to is just it is just a death gauntlet. This place is disgustingly difficult, and we have to charge through it. So, to make it a little easier, I'm going to start part of the trading quest with that necklace that I got, and go return that to the princess who dropped it earlier. And so, listen carefully, because you're only going to get to hear a few seconds of it, but this awesome music. And her love. I'll take that, bye. We're just going to run away with it.
That's right, Melos has stolen the princess's heart.
Quite literally.
So we've got our herb, we've got our sword, gates are open, we are going into the Dark Clouds area now, and this area is just enemy spam horrible.
Yeah, it stinks. It's bad. Well, you're level 9, and that's the start of the problems.
So I actually have to go slow here to kill things, because otherwise it is nearly impossible to get through that screen alive.
This isn't quite what I was expecting to see on the other side of the Celestial Gates.
No, it's... a lot of people say that. It's not quite what they were expecting. This screen is even worse. This is probably the worst one. But there's only like 3 screens of enemies here, but 2 of them are just so bad that this place ends runs constantly. And I still have that herb. And I used it, but I made it through. Okay, good.
Do we have any use for the insane amounts of money that the game is throwing at us at this point?
Yes, there are full restore potions and stuff that I can still buy, and I'm gonna need some of those, so... I think those cost like 20,000 each, so yes.
Oh my goodness, okay, yeah.
If you take your time casually and find the other, they're cheaper, but we only unlock the one shop, so... Oh no! That was an unfortunate death. That's fine. It should only cost me about 30 seconds.
Yeah, thankfully we made it to the Sky Temple, which means that we get to respawn right at the start of the Sky Temple.
That is what I get for trying to talk and run through the gauntlet at the same time. I want to take some damage, so I wasn't being super careful, but I don't want to take that much. Okay, now we're through the real dangerous part. So we're going to go down here, and we don't have to get this now, but for routing, it's much better to come over here and grab this key now. Even though I can't break that purple block there yet, which is the goal of this dungeon. That key gives me a chance... Oh no. There we go. The key gives me a chance to do something out of sequence when I come back. So... we have the air ring now.
Was that just a timed challenge, like hit all of them within a certain time frame?
Yep,
yeah,
and they're in a specific order.
They always appear in the same order, but they despawn after about 1 second, so you have to hit them quickly.
Oh, that's
So
yeah, that's really fast.
now Melis is very fast. And one of the nice things about being very fast in this case is that after you do that initial dash, you also continue running until you hit an obstacle or you get hit.
Oh, it's close. Okay, we're good. Whew. So, if you notice, we just noped out of that dungeon. So, we're done there for now. We are fast now. We're going to go sell that tiara that the princess just gave us because she loves us, because we don't care. And this guy really wants it. So he's going to give me a rock for it in the shape of a moon and a bunch of cash. And I'm going to take that and go to the wall. And hey, look, there's all these doors. I'm guessing everybody can probably see where this is going now. And now I've got a shell covered in jewels. So we're going to take that shell and give it to somebody who wants it. We're better than the ocean. Which is convenient, because I had to come down here anyway. So I'll give her the fancy shell. Baby Zoidberg. And she'll give me a star. And I'm going to go down here and pick up this extra magic gem, because it is super useful. And this while I'm here. So I can't swing my sword, because it does this. Lightning hurts underwater. Really shouldn't play with electricity underwater. I just thought that was a cool little effect that they added in.
Yeah. Be safe, kids.
And now we have a crystal ball, which we are going to take back to the fortune teller that you thought was evil at the start of the game.
Yeah. Just the scene with like the king and the princess and the guards and somebody in robes that's a obviously different color. It's like I'm programmed by games to think that
Yes,
that person is
absolutely.
evil.
That is clearly the evil wizard.
So, anyways, we gave her the crystal ball, and she said she'd tell our future. But then she said, wait, I can't. But here, take this scepter of the first king. It's super valuable, and it's been in the family for generations. And we're going right back to this guy and just handing it over. And we
He's
get
a
another
collector,
rock.
I guess.
Yep, he is a collector of royal antiquities. He loves anything to do with royalty. So, we're gonna get back
Think
down
of him
here.
as your royal pawn shop.
Yeah. And so, if you noticed, each one of these rooms required a to get through. This one required the air ring, which is why we didn't do this earlier. And now we have the sacred vial, which is incredibly useful and required to do what we're going to do next. So, I am going to go now and hit back Polulu Town, and we're going to go run to a place we haven't visited quick. We ran past it, but we just didn't give it a second look. It wasn't important yet, but it is now. So this cave has a spring that we're going to take a drink and fill our magic vial with. And then we're going to go ahead and go back down here and teleport out. That's all we needed. So now that we have the sword and shield that are quite cursed, and the vial of water, we are going to make our way back up here to where Adventure Buddy was found.
Is Adventure Buddy like his actual name or a community thing? Because it's such a great name.
We just came up with it.
Yeah, that's a community thing. But also, I refuse to believe that it's not his actual name.
Okay,
So-
that's fair.
We've come with the Aggelos equipment and the pure water, and this creepy dude in a robe is going to drag us up here, and of course, we can't have it. We need to pass a test. And now Sunbro Gom comes out. He looks way too much like a bird version of Sunbro.
Birds are jerks.
He is a massive jerk if you're not ready for him. He hits very hard, and his attacks are very annoying to avoid because your mobility is different than you're used to in the air.
Yeah, it's not coming across on stream. It doesn't really... you don't notice it, but the fight itself, Melos is tapping directions to dodge all of these attacks. The movement is really, really tough to deal with.
That's okay. It's just, he sets me outside. I don't have an herb, but I still have my potion, so it's still a pretty easy clear. I just wasn't ready for him to do the big one so early. That means I did too much damage quickly.
Oh, you phase transitioned him, basically?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
When he gets low, he switches from the little tornadoes to the huge ones, and the huge ones dodge, and I just was not ready to see those yet.
Yeah, it makes sense. Especially if you're used to a certain rhythm of the fight.
Yep, and as long as I dash away for that, I'm fine. Keep in close and keep mashing, and just I'm kind of tapping right slowly, like Tina said, to change the distance between me and him, so that the tornadoes that keep spawning in the center just barely miss me. And then I'm shooting fireballs on his way down, say these. I have to start moving much earlier to actually dodge those. And there we go. Much easier. I think I only took one hit that whole time. Last time I just got blasted by the tornadoes. They really hurt. And now we put on the cursed gear, and he gives us the holy water blessing. And we get the shiny gear, the Aggelos armor. And it is ridiculously strong. It is such a massive upgrade from what we had before that it turns the nearly impossible air temple into an absolute breeze.
Is it one of those things where this isn't necessarily required, but it saves so much time that you do it anyway?
Yes, we could not find a way to make skipping this worth it, because it's the entire game, especially the last boss, is just so much more difficult without it that we can't justify skipping it.
Yeah, everything is super damage spongy, and especially the final boss, we save entire minutes, way more time than we spent doing the entire fetch quest just on the final boss.
And that's just on the amount of health he has. And that's not to mention the difficulty it shaves off because of the armor. He is just a colossal damage sponge.
Yep. So there, Melos used that key that was picked up earlier. And now that we have the dash ability, we can break these purple blocks. And that's going to be how we unlock the door to the boss of this area.
Jaja and Jojo. And now I'm going to do a little running puzzle / gauntlet. And good, we're through. That is the only path I can take to get down here, and drop that, which allows me access to this door and this chest up here. So as I'm making my way through here, I'm just going through and finding the, I believe, 10 destroyable blocks.
Yeah, I think that's right.
I think I've got 3 or 4 now. I hate this room. Full of... doesn't really hurt, but just nuisance spears.
They throw you off your rhythm more than anything else, it seems like.
Mm-hmm. And then I'm going to jump through there and use the speed boost to clear that jump. Just make that.
I assume whenever you stop to hit enemies like that, it's mostly just getting your magic back.
Yes. Pretty much the only reason I stop running is to refill magic. And this guy, or that, to avoid using my herb too early. So I could have taken the hit there, I just didn't want to.
Yep, and also, Melos at this point is timing a level up. Is no longer timing a level up.
I was. That didn't work out where I wanted it to, but it's still close enough that it's not going to affect anything. As long as I go into this fight with most of my health, there's healing in the room, and I don't usually take much damage during it if things go right, so... That should have been the last pillar, so yes. And now we're at the boss. Boss is twin birds, Jia and Jojo. Oh no, get in, no! No! There, okay. And everything I just said about not taking much damage was an absolute lie. Okay, got the healing. That's okay, because there's lots of healing in this room in those jars. So the trick is, when that happens, I need to get a portal down so I can do that. And now they're easy, okay. Once you get them together, they take double damage, but they constantly hit you. So fire portals do an insane amount of damage to them. Oh, hey,
I
look
assume
at
at
that.
that point, once you're past 40,000, you don't really need much more money than that, because that's 2 full
No.
heal potions.
I am totally set on money for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
All right, now there's not that much left to do, just a little bit of cleanup, and then it's time for the final dungeon.
Alright, so we're going to go back here, and we're going to go visit a guy that we've this whole game. Back at the castle. And we're going to go talk to the alchemist, who is now going to take those 4 elements that we gathered and magically the 5th element of light. Cool. We've got that. Now we can break into those rifts. But first, we are going to make a pit stop back where we just were, in Dark Clouds. So, there is this little tiny hole here that we're going to fall down. And, oh hey, it's another guy. And he's going to teach us the final scroll of Firefly, which requires the light element. And it requires the Aggelos gear. So, that is the other reason why we go out of our way to get all this, because it is just so useful. And I will show you what it does in just a moment. Oh, I missed the teleport. So we're going to go to the castle, and we're going to start by avenging Soldier Guy. So he was taken out guarding this thing, and we're going to go in and clean house. There we go. And the Firefly that I just learned is right here. So that is the ability. And we can use it. It does not hit very hard, but it hits continuously, which we can use to pseudo-lock things in place.
Yeah,
it seems like
anytime that an enemy takes a hit, you're going to get a little bit of hit stun. And since
there
we
we
can
go.
put down 2 fireflies at once, we can keep enemies relatively where we want them.
And we killed a minion, so we have weakened the barrier on Valian's castle. So we're going to head right back out. Go back here and teleport straight to the next one, which is just outside of Fira Village. But I'm going to be a coward and take this moment to pick up an herb. Because a death here would be just way too costly. This guy is the one who was giving me a little bit of a nuisance in my practice. don't really have a great way to deal with him because he just moves around however he wants. And his attacks change. But things seems like he went alright this time. Alright, and now that we've killed Valiant's henchman, we're going to make our way to him. And we're in the final stretch of the game. Oh, wrong way. This way. So we've got a herb, we've got a full heal potion, we are good to go. So, Valiant's castle we ran past earlier from Palulu Town. It was over on the way to the liar body, but he had a magic barrier up, so we couldn't go say hi. But now we can.
I just hope that when this is all over, our brave soldier gets a hero's burial. He deserves it. That one guard.
I don't know who you're talking about.
The one that was guarding the rift in the dungeon?
Soldier guy.
Yeah, soldier guy.
He's our friend. Soldier guy's great. Okay. That room, you barely have enough magic to get through, so I have to try to skip a few platforms and make sure I get all the hits off of that little tick in the air. And then we're going to float up here and try not to hit the spikes. Okay. Because if you hit the spikes, you fall through the spikes into the bottom and have to go around again. Come on. Let me out. And we're going to set up a teleport down there and set the second on our way down.
So, like many final areas of a video game, this is all just a skill test to make sure, hey, were you paying attention? Did you actually learn how the game worked?
Okay, so
And,
yeah.
I mean, it's fair, honestly. Nellis has been cheating through most of this run, so...
I can only hope I don't get hit here. The chances of that are slim, but... Oh, okay. Whew! So now we're gonna pop our... Actually, you know what? We're just gonna go in. We're gonna go into Valiant with 1 health. Because if I lose my herb, I have to go out anyway, so I may as well let that go off first. So, here's Valiant. Oh, yep, okay, so that's fine. Kind of glad it happened right there, because now I know what I need for the fight. But he's going to switch. First phase is just the rotating, and now he's kind of hover at me while these things try to kill me. But he moves much faster and in much worse. So now he's going to start zooming around the room. But by me doing that, I can basically lock him in place. Oh! Oh, I thought I was dead there. I was. Well, okay. That's fine. I'll only lose about 30 seconds.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
And I can jump to skip that, thankfully. It's the only place that lets you skip anything in the game. I'm gonna say, only 2 real unplanned boss deaths. That's not too bad. Alright. And now I have to go for the kill on this guy. The Downpour is the final boss. There. And Valiant's down.
Is that time?
No. We
Nope.
got one more boss.
We got one more boss.
he threw the light element into the void at the last moment and
Oh,
gave
no.
it to darkness so that they could take over the world. So we can't let that happen. So I'm gonna take a run out here real quick and go to Hero Village. It's the closest shop. And I still have my potion, so I'm just gonna pick up an herb and go straight back there, and we're gonna go after the last boss, which is called the Downpour. This thing took us easily over an hour on our first playthrough, and that was at
the
level
blind
18.
races took forever. It's a really, really cool boss fight. It's super fun, and the speedrun strats that you use for it are just great. They're real fun.
Alright,
So what you're going to see is a lot of
Phase
dodging
one.
here, and there's a bunch of using the bubble shield to do damage. The bubble shield itself does as much damage as 3 hits with whatever weapon you have equipped, so anytime you see Melos finding the time to get one of those hits in, that's a ton of damage that he's dealing.
I'm just seeing him pound on this boss, and the health bar is barely moving.
Yes, this guy is incredibly tanky, and I am very underleveled, so it shows. Oh, and there was the herb, so one more hit and I have to use my potion. This is very unforgiving on damage. Last. Yep, there. I cannot wait on that because it hurts really bad, and if basically come now. There's just stuff flying everywhere, and it all hurts really bad, and as soon as I lose control of my character, that is time. It's coming up a few seconds here, and we killed the Downpour, so time. Alright, still made it underestimate, good. So, we've killed the darkness.
That was a really good run.
We killed the darkness, all the things that escaped vanish now because our boss died, and everybody goes back to being happy. And we are probably not... I'm not sure if we're going to let this whole thing play out, because it is an incredibly long ending. Like, far longer than it needs to be.
Yeah, you told me that the ending has some neat stuff, but it is so long.
I would
The
say
ending itself, it's a good 5-10 minutes. There's a good amount of cutscene,
so
many surprises. You're gonna cry.
Explain this part. Okay, let's explain this part real quick. Okay, so I just returned. The princess is so happy to see me. The kingdom is saved. Everybody is happy. And they're just like, oh, we'll give you anything. We're going to reward you, and bam, light from the heavens.
Yeah, so if you had actually been playing the game and talking to NPCs and, really respecting the lore, the game pretty much tells you that you're an angel. Like, the entire time, you're an angel.
I mean, that's why you can touch things and move things.
Mm-hmm. They hint at it here and there, but they don't outright say it, but it's pretty obvious about 3/4 of the way through the game. But that's what the fortune teller said she could not let me know, because it would interfere with my mission. And she didn't tell the princess, so now she's all pouty about it.
I mean, you did... You stole her heart.
Did steal her heart, so that is...
You didn't even give her heart back before you went.
Nope, just straight stole
No,
it.
he kept it and then he left.
Yep, and that is where the name of that armor came from, the greatest of the angel, called the Aggelos. And so everybody lives happily but not so happily ever after. So
Solemnly
returned-
ever after.
return to the heavens. I'm happy. I'm chilling in heaven. But
I do appreciate the subterfuge on the happily ever after, and then the hero gets the girl ending. It's a good twist.
And the princess is just like, but what do I do? And she's like, well, no, he's never coming back, but just feel happy knowing he's up there somewhere.
And I mean, also, the darkness isn't murdering every living thing in the world. That's probably worth being happy about a little.
Just a little. It's probably a high note to end on.
Not murder? Yeah, that's a high note.
But then after that, it's going to play out really slowly, talking about the people, their inspiration, and everybody now has these wonderful, wonderful statues that I'm sure the princess paid for of me in every town.
Maybe she could sell her locket and use that money to pay for the statue.
That's true. I mean, I did already sell all of her other stuff to the Gator guy, so... I think I sold the royal family's fortune for them already.
Well, are there any shoutouts that the two of you would like to give?
I mean, I'd first off just thank you both to Tina Hacks and Author Blues both for getting me started, telling me, look, it's okay, be bad, do it, just go and enjoy it. And hey, now I've got world record in this game, so you don't have to be good to start speedrunning something. You just have to start learning, and who knows what you might end up discovering or getting good at. You might find out that you enjoy something completely different than the normal type of game you'd like to play.
Yeah, definitely. What matters is that it's fun. As long as you're having fun, then you're doing speedrunning right. For me, the Wonder Boy community, by and large, there's a bunch of people who, some of them only play 1 or 2 Wonder Boy games. Some of them play basically the entire series, like Berlin Dude. And then all of the offshoots. The Aggelos community, obviously an offshoot of the Wonder Boy community. The Shantae community has a ton of overlap. Speedrunning's fun, and when you get good communities together, it's even better. Oh, absolutely. Also, I should note, I've never not been bad. Like, being bad at video games is way more fun than being good at video games. So, what Mello said, absolutely. That's my advice to everybody. Be bad at video games and have fun.
I'm awful at video games, but I have fun with them.
Oh, here's what you were asking about earlier. Here's the credit roll of all the different enemies. Interesting names. Take note of a few of these. There's some pretty
some real good
interesting
ones.
Yeah. Cyclopus, that's that guy's name. Totally not Squid Baron.
It's Squid Baron.
It is.
It's just it's a typo. Cyclopus, Squid Bear.
Forever mean fish.
That face Downpour is making is pretty great.
So good.
That is such a colossal, awesome sprite.
Everything about that boss fight is just great. Mush Doom.
The Cloudworm, that makes sense. And Goldevius. I don't think his name is mentioned anywhere. That's the only place you see the name. Aguila, the Locust. And then you just come chase him off out of nowhere. The Stooge, that nobody ever saw because that was part of a challenge room that we didn't enter.
Are there any enemies here that you never saw because you always despawn them?
Just because of always despawning, no, but Stooge, as was mentioned, you will not have seen. So
typically, in a run that goes correctly, you'll never see the bear. either the polar bear or the smaller bears, because I should despawn all of those, but missed a few despawns, so that's fine. And then there is that question enemy right there. That is the secret boss of the game that will absolutely destroy you if you're not level 20.
Bow's Hog? That
Yeah.
doesn't look like
Yes, those
Bowser
are
at
Bow's
all.
Hogs.
Totally not Bowser and Sonic mashed together.
No. Not at all. I do appreciate the bright pink polar bear. It's pretty good.
The polar bear is amazing. And then you've got the birds, Jaja, Jojo, and Juju. And I went in like a evil person and just murdered their whole family.
All right, so while we are wrapping up here, I would just like to cut in and remind people that thank you for tuning in. Hotfix is funded in part thanks to your subscriptions and bits. So everybody who's watching, thank you so much, and we would appreciate it if you would consider subscribing to support future broadcasts.
And for
Make
anyone
sure
who doesn't-
you... Sorry, go ahead.
The pink cloud there, for anybody who doesn't know, that was the kanji for cloud.
Oh, okay.
Its name is just the kanji for cloud.
That's an interesting choice there. But just to continue along, volunteer schedule for HDQ 2020 will be out at the end of the month. And make sure you tune in Wednesday for another selection of Kuso Grande games at 7 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be a lot of fun.
More Kuso is always fun.
Mm-hmm. But it looks like we're just about wrapping up here.
Yep, and now we've played out. That is the end of the credits, and we see our in-game time and percentage.
So as a quick reminder, if you're interested in picking up this game, there is the link for the Discord in chat. And if you're watching on YouTube, we can put that in the video description for you. But thanks once again, Melos, for running, and Tina for helping with commentary. We are going to be heading out here. We're going to send you over to Enchantress of Numbers, who's playing Zelda 2, which is a perfect tie-in to this game. So why don't you go give Enchantress of Numbers a bunch of energy and support, cheer her on, and we'll see you on Wednesday for Kusa Grande.
Awesome. Thank you for having me, and everybody go say hi to Enchantress of Numbers.